Today in the letter to the Hebrews, and also in the Psalm, we hear references to the person who was arguably the most mysterious figure in the entire Bible, Melchizedek. Now the interesting thing is, the passage about Melchizedek, we didn't hear that. That's from Genesis. But we heard the other places where he's referenced, letter to the Hebrews and the 110th Psalm. And indeed, Melchizedek is really a strange character. I don't mean that he's strange. I mean that, well, maybe he is, I don't know. But the circumstances around his appearance are incredibly mysterious. So replay the Genesis tape, right? So where do we find Melchizedek? Well, as we see in the Hebrews reference here, it happens related to the story to Abraham, of Abraham and Lot. Right? So Abraham is going out to rescue his nephew, right? And he is successful and wonderful. And then all of a sudden, here comes this guy wanders in, Melchizedek, who is, as it says here in Hebrews, he is the king of Salem, which can be interpreted as the author of Hebrews reminds us, the king of peace. Okay, that's nice. Nice to have the king of peace show up, right? And he offers bread and wine. And he says a little prayer, I bless God, I bless you, Abraham. That's very nice. And Abraham says, as it says in the Hebrews reading here, I believe, too, I will give you 1/10 of all my goods. And Melchizedek wanders away, never to be seen or heard from again. Okay. Now, perhaps if you were Sarah or somebody else, maybe Lot hanging around, you would have said to yourself, what was that all about? Because it doesn't fit into the story at all. It's just like the strange interlude, right? Abraham has this great victory, but this strange guy wanders in with bread and wine and offers him up, says a blessing, and gets 10% of Abraham's stuff, and off he goes. And you never see him again. Right? And out of that comes this great tradition about Melchizedek, based on the story. We don't know where he comes from. We don't know where he goes. Because indeed, we don't know where he came from, and we don't know where he goes, or where he went. And the tradition develops, well, he must he must be someplace. Right? He is the eternal priest. He's like one of these figures from the Old Testament that whatever happened to him, you don't really know, like Elijah, Enoch, whatever happened to these people, not clear. Add Melchizedek to the list. Now we use this line, and we heard it in Hebrews, and it was the response to the Psalm, you are a priest forever, in the line of Melchizedek. Who's you? Well, Jesus. Right? But if you were paying attention at your baptisms, and I'm sure you all were, right? It's addressed to you too. Right? At baptism, we are baptized as priest, prophet, king. We are priests. Everybody here. And some of us, through another sacrament, have a particular priestly ministry, right? But we all share the royal priesthood of Jesus. And there's something in this Melchizedek story that is supposed to help us understand what that means. And it does. What does Melchizedek offer? Well, let's back up. Priest, the Old Testament's full of priests, right? Everywhere. You can't go anywhere without running into a priest. With their hand out, probably, right? What do? What does a priest do in the temple? Offers sacrifice. What kind of stuff? Grain, animals, stuff that God gave, right? God gave us this beautiful cow. Let's kill it and barbecue it, right? Wonderful wheat. Let's burn it on the altar. Give it back to God. Things that God made. What does Melchizedek offer? Bread and wine. That's different, isn't it? And in fact, we don't even know what happened to that stuff in the Melchizedek story. Why is bread and wine different from bulls and wheat? Very simple. Wheat, bread, is made from stuff God gave us, but made through the art and craft of human beings. Right? You don't get bread all by itself. Right? A person needs to do something to make bread out of wheat. And the same thing is true for wine, right? Now, indeed, if you just let a bunch of grapes sit there, they will ferment, and if you want to call that wine, okay, but nobody's probably going to want that. The stuff that we call wine, right, is made from grapes, a good gift from God, but made by human people. Right? Some things better than others. Big difference. Now, let's go back. You, Jesus, are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Now, what does that bread and wine business mean? What does that point to? The incarnation, what we just celebrated. Right? Wheat, God-given, craft of human people come together, make something united. Wine. You can't turn wine into a grape. Right? It is permanently changed into something different from what it was. And one could argue that if you drink it, you are changed into something different than you were, if you drink enough of it. Right? Same thing for wheat, right? Take some wheat, turn it into flour, human being comes along, makes it into bread. You can't turn bread back into wheat. There's this permanent change, and it's this union of humanity and divinity. Wheat, bread, grapes, wine. The incarnation. Jesus is a priest indeed in the order of Melchizedek. He doesn't offer wheat. He doesn't offer animals. What does he offer? Himself. Who is himself? The incarnation. He is the union of divine and humanity. Who is the priest? He is. What does he offer? Himself. To who? To God. Right? Very different from the barbecue of the temple era. Jesus offers himself to himself in a certain sense. He offers us because he and us are united. And through that union, that's the way we find our way to salvation. And we participate in that. Various people have tried to come up with what is a human being? Right? Aristotle said, a rational animal. That's true. We got a brain. We're different from a pig. Well, they say pigs are smart, but human beings probably got a little edge. Most of us, at least. Even over a really smart pig. Right? We've got a bit of an edge there. And I've lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? That's terrible, isn't it? Yeah. I lost my train of thought on that. Yeah, I got that part, yeah. Maybe that's God's way to tell me to shut up. Anyway, oh, thank you. Whew. Bail me out, hon. What is a human being? What makes us different, right? We have been united with the incarnation through Jesus' offering of us, starting with himself, to God. And that's how we come to salvation. And that's how we come to salvation. And the reality is, you are a priest forever. You are a priest forever. It's not a one-time deal. Think about this, right? Think about the book of Revelation now. How does Jesus appear in the book of Revelation? At the end, as a lamb as if slain, right? It's this wounded lamb who offers himself eternally, right? Heaven is a divine liturgy. Heaven is a divine liturgy. Jesus' offering of himself did not end when he breathed his last on the cross. He continues to offer the incarnation to God through his ministry as priest. Right? So therefore, what we do here, we're not playing Last Supper, right, as some might think of our Christian brothers and sisters. We're not even killing Jesus again, as some Christian people, including Catholics, think. It's not a new sacrifice. It's not a new offering. Well, what is it? It's our way of connecting to the heavenly liturgy. As Jesus continues to offer himself over and over and over, constantly, actually not over and over again. He offers himself once, but it never ends. Right? And therefore, as we as priests are called to do the same. We offer ourselves continuously to God. We offer ourselves throughout the day, through the way we live, and also when we come here. When we come to Mass, we, as a group of the royal priesthood, make our offering to God. It's not just the bread and the wine. It's ourselves. And that is the way to salvation for us. That is the way to heaven, to the heavenly liturgy. And therefore, if you don't like this, you're going to be sadly disappointed when you get to the other side, probably. Right? Heaven is presented as this divine liturgy, where we are united with the Lamb of God who came into the world to take away the sins of the world. Let us always continue to live out our priesthoods, a priesthood that will go on forever as we are united beyond this world to Christ, right? According to the order of Melchizedek, not offering animals and stuff, but offering ourselves for our salvation and the salvation of the world.